Yes, good evening and welcome back to the Football Tribe UG channel. Robert Kesakos is your usual suspect. Apologies, I was busy enjoying the halftime entertainment at the ongoing FIFA Club World Cup, where Chelsea are surprisingly in a 3-0 lead against a PSG. I say surprisingly because I think it is a surprise to majority of us. I won't say all of us, but to majority of us. Personally, my prediction had been a 3-1 victory for PSG against Chelsea, and to the contrary, Chelsea have been by far, by all measures and counts, by all leaps and bounds, have been the better side at in the opening half of the game. So yeah, we'll be discussing that as we enjoy the remainder of the second half. So I know we the second half is getting underway quite in just a bit, but impressive performance from Chelsea. Really quite astronomical. I must say, I must acknowledge, it's really been good, that good. It left nothing to be desired. It left nothing to be desired, if I'm being honest with you guys. But the halftime entertainment continues at the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, where more than 80,000 fans are packed in that stadium to watch Chelsea up against PSG in the finals of the ongoing FIFA Club World Cup, the first edition of a 32-team, and today is the 63rd game, I think, of the day, so of the tournament. So really, we'll be enjoying that as well. Of course, there's plenty for us to talk about while that is ongoing. Things have been happening on the side of transfers, while Chelsea are busy beating PSG. Arsenal are busy making moves in the transfer window. And in terms of dominating the news, if Arsenal had hoped to dominate news in any case, it couldn't have come at a worse time. But yeah, we are enjoying those developments. You will allow me get a few things in place. I know majority are out there watching and enjoying, following the proceedings. So we will follow the proceedings together tonight for the purposes of this particular broadcast. So that's what we should expect, really. That's what we should expect in tonight's broadcast. As you can see, I'm trying to get a few things in place, really, before I begin engaging you guys in tonight's conversation. So yeah, that's what we are witnessing. Quite impressive performance from Chelsea. Like I said, a bit of a surprise result for me personally, given the manner in which Chelsea have handled themselves in that opening half of the game. So if you're just joining us, please consider liking the broadcast, but also subscribe to the channel if you're new here. I will be following the developments from the second half, but should you notice a lapse in my feed, and then know it's a bit poor bandwidth. So our updates could be a couple of seconds, if not almost a minute behind in regards to what's coming your way. But yeah, we are waiting for the second half to get underway between PSG and Chelsea in that final at the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Impressive game of football. Of course, Chelsea made some of the changes that we had hoped they would make if they were to have a chance in this particular game. I spoke about some of these things yesterday. For those of you that did follow our preview, I did mention that if Chelsea needed to give themselves a chance in this game, they needed to sacrifice one of their winners in Christopher Nkunku to afford space for an extra player in midfield. Although I had hoped that player would be Romeo Lavia, Enzo Maresca opted to go with his captain, Enrique James, to play alongside Moises Caicedo, and then Cole Palmer plays as sort of a de facto wing of some sort, with Enzo Fernandez ahead of that double pivot, and then Pedro Neto and João Pedro. So pretty much we're almost spot on with that starting lineup and our speculation or our analysis of in the preview for that game. On the side of PSG, and nothing has changed. Everything is as we hoped they would set up. However, their execution hasn't been to what we've come to know of them, but also more to the credit of Chelsea, who have been really, really better on the other side. Chelsea have been really impressive in closing down. PSG in knowing when to retreat into their own half, and whenever they won that ball back, they were really, really quick on the counter to get into the final third of the PSG box. That's why I think you had Nuno Mendes struggle against Malo Gusto, I think leading into that first goal. Cole Palmer missed a golden opportunity that would have given Chelsea an earlier lead than it actually came, but that ball went wide of the mark. So, but he was back at it again with Malo Gusto providing the assist to open the scoring in the 22nd minute, while at the half-hour mark, he was back again with the Chills scoring to make it 3-0 with Levi Colwill providing the assist. Well, towards the tail end of the first half, we saw João Pedro capitalizing on a brilliant ball from Cole Palmer. So he scored a goal and assisted one. João Pedro looping Gianluigi Donnarumma. Now, for the outstanding goalkeeper that Gianluigi Donnarumma has been throughout the entirety of the 2024-2025 campaign, I thought today has fallen a bit short. Not that you can really, really blame him for the impressive goals that Chelsea have scored, but maybe you get the feeling that on that first goal, he could have stretched a bit further. I mean, he's capable of that kind of stretch for me, if I'm being honest. So, yeah, you would have hoped that he would have stretched himself a little bit further to gain the advantage, to try and stop that ball from going in. Then on the other side, Robert Sanchez has been quite immaculate. Two saves, twice he's been called to action and he made brilliant saves against Desiree Doué, and the other opportunity I think fell to João Neves with a diving header, and that was creeping in at the bottom corner, and he was able to save that. So really, Chelsea have simply been impressive. Really, they've been really, really impressive. Cole Palmer has found zero trouble running down that side alongside Malo Gusto to create that opportunity, and also to find himself within the forbidden area, where he has capitalized to score that burst in the first half. So beautiful game of action, I must mention. So let's wait and see. Whatever it is that you are following the proceedings, it's so far been a very, very entertaining game, I must acknowledge. It's been a really, really entertaining game for that first half. So let's wait for the second half to equally get underway, and we'll see how things will turn out. Can PSG force a comeback? Nothing is impossible in football. That's all I can say. But it's looking increasingly unlikely at the moment, because I mean, why would Chelsea squander a 3-0 lead? Yes, earlier on I was submitting on my X handle saying that I must say that I was wrong about my 3-1 prediction in favor of PSG, but I was right to submit that Maresca need to sacrifice Nkunku for an extra body in central midfield if Chelsea were to have a chance, and they now lead 3-0 at halftime. So that was my submission. And a Chelsea fan called Anthony Agaba said, you missed just a little bit of history. It would have guided you, Anko. For every final we have just participated in, we come as underdogs. For every final game we play, we are something else. It's just a thing. I think that runs in Chelsea. So that was his comment on that submission as well. Like I said, again, my conclusion for that game was, again, a final is a final. Anything can happen. Chelsea could as the underdogs and upset the balance of play or the balance of skill, and it's basically that's what has happened. They came as the underdogs and they've made things happen. So we already the second half is on, and yeah, we'll be following updates from that from the MetLife Stadium in Nevada. The players are already back on the turf. So do let me know what your thoughts are, your opinions. For those of you that are following the game, for those of you that are watching it, for those of you that are just listening to it, just let me know what your views are in this particular case. I hope I've not missed out on any engagement, but I will be waiting for it to come. PSG players were the first to return. I think they are eager to get back on there and try and see if they can overturn their fortunes, and then subsequently Chelsea players equally emerged, and we are now into the 46th minute of the game officially. But like I said, as the game is ongoing, we were treated to a barrage of breaking news regarding to Arsenal's pursuit of Viktor Gyokeres, that the two clubs have reached an agreement on the transfer of the 27-year-old Swedish international, because the deal in principle is that Arsenal will pay 63.5 million euros plus 10 million euros in expected add-ons to sign Viktor Gyokeres, but that's after the players' representatives or agency agreed to forego there are about approximately 5.5 million euros in commission fees for this transfer. So let's wait and see. Then also on the other side we have something regarding Granit Xhaka, who is on the verge of joining former Arsenal star Alexander Lacazette at Neome or Neom SC there in the Saudi Pro League. So let's wait on that. But for now, our attention switches back to the ongoing final in the FIFA Club World Cup. So yeah, keep it locked here, and we will be following all the updates from that side. It's going to be quite interesting to see whether PSG can bounce back in this one. It's going to be really interesting, really. I mean, a lot didn't go right for PSG in the first half. For Kivisha Kvaratskhelia, attempting those dribbles, but he could not find the breakthrough. He could not find the breakthrough against Trevor Chalobah, against Malo Gusto. But if PSG are to sort of try and force a comeback in this one, because we know in football nothing is impossible. We saw it between Liverpool and AC Milan in 2005. They would need an early goal. Hilary, hi Hilary, how are you doing, my brother? Good to have you on the broadcast. Kindly like the broadcast, but also consider subscribing to the channel if you're new here, Hilary. And do let me know where you're joining us from. Hilary. So oh, Sanchez had fumbled that ball. I think the attempt was from Kivisha Kvaratskhelia. He carried it right in the path, but Levi Colwill was alive to it to make the clearance. Kivisha Kvaratskhelia forcing him into, that was a fumbled ball. Really. He ought to have done better. He's very lucky that it did not result into him conceding. But, that PSG midfield has not been as effective as we've been accustomed of them. Betinha and João Neves, plus Fabian Ruiz. Moises Caicedo has been really sort of, how do I put it, has been really dominant in the opening half alongside Breccia James. So you can see. And Chelsea have been very quick to find the spaces within. already, which is not very unusual which is not very unusual of PSG, because we're talking about a team that has only conceded one goal up to until this stage in the tournament. That goal came against Botafogo on match day 2 when they lost by goal to nil. And all the way they had not conceded in the other games, and yet they've conceded 3 goals in the opening half. So that clearly tells you of how poor they've been. Oh, you're from Rongai, Kenya. Hillary is from Rongai, Kenya. How is Kenya? Is everything all right? I know Kenya has been undergoing through a series of political protests due to what they regard as bad governance and things of that nature. But I hope you and everybody else that you do mind is safe and well. In regards to recent events coming out of Kenya, there, I'm coming to you live from Kampala, Uganda. That's where I am coming from to you live from. So you are immediate door neighbors from Kenya. Just trying to find the 4th goal, and I think that would essentially put the game to bed if you were to get that goal. It would sort of foil any attempts that PSG, or even hopes or glimmer hope, however small it could be, that PSG could be having, that they could try and force a comeback in this game. Wow. Just have been good with their press, with their counter press against this PSG side. They've denied them dominancy on the ball. They've denied them stringing more than 10, 15 passes in their build-up. Desiree Doué has been pushed so far back. He's not always within the opposing half, because usually that's where PSG want to play. They want to play majority of their football in the opponent's half, and that's when they force you into all these sorts of errors. And yet Chelsea have also been intentional on quickly getting that ball from out of their back into the forward lines. So it's been so far really, really impressive what Chelsea have been able to do. They've chosen to, commit all their bodies behind the ball, and once they win that ball back, they will go quickly into the PSG half, and that's has sort of given them the advantage or the edge. But PSG continue to probe. They are hoping for better fortunes, which I just do not see a way through. When you look at the Chelsea wall, when they are being pressed, it's literally a line of 6 players. It's literally a line of 6 players. Rachel James and Moises Caicedo add on to that back line to deny those spaces, and that helps them, win back balls. So, anyways, yeah, that's what's coming through. The game remains 3-0. Oh, Robert Sanchez forced into a brilliant save here by Ousmane Dembele. That ball appeared to have hit the upright. The ball appeared to have hit the upright. Impressive stuff. Beautiful game to watch, really, especially for us, the neutrals, who have no sides whatsoever. No, it didn't hit the upright. Robert Sanchez puts the palm into it, and you could see Luis Enrique really wanted that ball to go in and give themselves a chance. Oh, look at all that space. Beautiful game of football, guys. I hope you guys are following all the updates in as far as this game is concerned. PSG have become suddenly a bit aggressive. I was worried for Chelsea in the first half when they received yellow cards for Malo Gusto. The other one, I think, Moises Caicedo, and who else? I seem to remember somebody else receiving, a yellow cards in that opening half. But let's see. But by the way, Chelsea have been able to keep Dembele quiet. He's been really quiet. He was quiet the entire first half, It's only in this second half that we've seen a little bit of him. A little bit of him. We are waiting. We are waiting to see if we get that that first goal from PSG. I mean, just imagine if PSG were to get a goal or two in this game, would make the game edgy and a bit more intense than it actually is at the moment. It is intense at this stage, but not as intense as it would be. Desiree Doué tried to go from distance, but shot was off targets, and you could see Luis Enrique wasn't really too pleased with that. They failed to break through that Chelsea backline and low block that they put up in the opening, half. Sorry, in the opening minutes of the second half, and now they've gone long. João Pedro. Oh, there's been a penalty appeal from João Pedro, who thought he was brought down, but the referee waved that down quickly. He thought that João Pedro was trying to look for that. He went down easily. I need to review the moment a little bit more up close before I formulate my opinion about it. But usually it's a bit edgy in the box. It's a bit edgy. Anything can happen. Cole Palmer is orchestrating a couple of things up that right hand side. Really. Anyway, impressive stuff. Impressive stuff. For those of you that are following, so far it's been very, very impressive. As for those of you that care to know, on the other side, transfer business is continuing. I've just told you Arsenal have reached an agreement for Viktor Gyokeres. That deal is happening, and possibly he could be an Arsenal player by the time the Gunners fly out for their Asian tour to Singapore. So will it be Singapore? Hopefully. I stand to be corrected. But Lucas Beraldo was lucky to get away with that one because obviously he was pulling João Pedro. He was lucky to get away with that because he was really pulling João Pedro. But it appeared maybe let him go right on time, but it's a 50-50. It's a 50-50. If the referee had given it, I do not think the VR would have questioned it, or it would have been a questionable penalty. It's one of those 50-50s. So let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. Chelsea are yet to have an attempt on goal in the second half so far. PSG have had, I think, about two, one off target and the other saved by Robert Sanchez. And we are already we are edging closer to the half-hour mark in this game. PSG are making amendments. Their Kivica Kvaratskhelia is paving way for Bradley Barcola. Kivica Kvaratskhelia is paving way for Bradley Barcola. So, yeah. Let's see if that will change their fortunes. Let's see if that will change their fortunes. He's one of those deadly attackers. And I wouldn't be surprised if Usman Dembele is eventually sacrificed for somebody like Mayuru or Gonzalo Ramos in this game. So, because otherwise, they will need some fresh legs if they are to have a go at Chelsea. Oh. Anyway, it remains 3-0 at the moment. It remains 3-0 at the moment between these two giants of Europe. The UEFA Conference League winner versus the UEFA Champions League winner. Oh, Vitinha tried to go from distance. Vitinha tried an attempt from distance and he forced Robert Sanchez. Now, Robert Sanchez didn't look like he caught it. Maybe it brushed the fingertips. Anyways, still waiting, still waiting. Oh, that was close. That was close. Marquinhos. Oh, João Pedro coming to the rescue. Brilliant defending, João Pedro. Otherwise, Marquinhos would have been at the end of that, and you never know. Looks like Andre Santos is being brought on. Enzo Fernandez appears to have looks like he has pulled his hamstring, something like that. That's what it appears like. So Andre Santos is coming on. Andre Santos is a Chelsea player who spent last season on loan away to Strasbourg in France. That's in League One, and they managed to qualify for the UEFA Conference League. It was a bit of a lengthy stretch as Vitinha closed him down in the fight for that ball, and remember, during the summer, this very competition that Enzo Maresca said he views Andre Santos as a player similar to Enzo Fernandez. So it's no surprise that he's replaced him, Enzo Fernandez, with Andre Santos, because according to Enzo Maresca, the two players are similar, are quite similar, quite similar. So. It has been a forced substitution. Enzo Fernandez does have a very brilliant partnership between him and Moises Caicedo, but today, pretty much the way Vitinha has won, João Neves and the addition of Fabian Ruiz, but it's not pretty worked out pretty or perfectly well the way they would have hoped up this PSG team. But let's wait and see. It's not yet over. This game is far from over. 63 minutes in, and we are yet to see any goal in the second half. We are yet to see a goal in the second half. On the side of there's a lot of news. Granit Xhaka said it seems to be destined for the Saudi Pro League there. So we will be discussing that a bit later. The way Chelsea are playing, the way they are playing in the second half, they are really showing no rush. They're taking their time on the ball. Even when they go up front, unless it's a 1v1 kind of situation direct in goal, they are not looking to rush the ball. They know they are in control. They know they have that 3-0 lead. They just need that clock to keep on ticking. And the longer it keeps on ticking, the more frustrated PSG are likely to become. And that they will begin commit maybe silly mistakes and things of that nature. So, but they are really looking to bear out this PSG side every time they win the ball back. They put it up front to a player like Cole Palmer. He does that bit of holder play, but more it's to, run down the clock as opposed to trying to create immediate threats, because they know they are in the driving seat of this one. They very well know they are in the driving seat of this one. Brilliant defending. Brilliant defending. Chelsea could be unstoppable next season, really. Oh, Akraf Hakimi commits a foul on Marco Cucurella. I think the kinds of runs that Akraf Hakimi makes from the right flank and into the final third would not see. Meanwhile, the US President, Donald John Trump, and his wife, Melania Trump, are in the stands watching this game. Uh, uh, Donald Trump is, side by side with Gian Fantino. I think on his right is his wife, Melania Trump, and then on his left is Gian Infantino with another lady. I do not know if that lady is Gian Infantino's wife as well, but yeah, they are also present at the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey watching the proceedings of the finals of the FIFA Club World Cup between Chelsea and PSG. I do not know if any of them have a team they are rooting for tonight, but they are enjoying the game. This is basically the US president trying to show more support to say, even for the next year for the FIFA Club World Cup, we'll be engaged, we'll be involved, and we'll embrace the tournament, even though we are not known to be the destination of football really, or soccer as they call it in the United States. So that's what is really happening at the moment. Desle Due fouled as he, he's just so good with his feet. He's just so good with his feet. Pedro Neto running back and sort of clatters in him. It's not like he intended really to, clip him. A bit of sports showmanship there, with this, helping him with the stretches. Joao Pedro is limping, and I think if were to come off, as chances are it could be Liam Delap that comes on, but let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. But just are still in the driving seat of this one. Oh, I mean, for all the criticism we've sent Robert Sanchez's way, whether deserved or not, today has been immaculate for him. There's nothing you can say against him in today's display, because the way he came out for that cross from Vitinha was simply impressive, and the saves he made against was it Pembele, Desiree Due, and Joao Vitinha were quite impressive. So Joao Pedro is paving the way for Liam Delap. Enzo Maresca is making more changes so far in this game. This is the second substitution of the game on the side of Chelsea. Remember, PSG withdrew Kivica Kvaratskhelia for Desiree Due, and they are showing us that impressive Joao Pedro goal as he leaped that ball over Gianluigi Donnarumma in the 43rd minute of the opening stanza of the game. For those of you that are wondering, those ACs or air blowing machines that are planted next to the technical benches, because it's summer, it's literally 100 degrees Fahrenheit out there in some cases. So that's why we've had water breaks throughout the entirety of this tournament. A part of me also tells me that wow, Liam Delap just forced Gianluigi Donnarumma into an impressive save. It could have easily been 4-0 if it wasn't for that brilliant save. Wow, impressive. I was saying, I do feel that this tournament has been used as some form of a test tournament to determine what to expect next summer for the FIFA World Cup. 48 teams will be playing across Canada, the USA, and Mexico for the FIFA World Cup. So because it's going to be the tournament will be played around the same periods during the summer. Now they know what to expect in terms of weathers. You remember during the group stages, we had one game, I think we had a delayed start for, I think that game between Mamelodi Sundowns and I think Iceland due to, a storm threat. Then we had a Chelsea game that was forced into a 2-hour break, really due to a storm when those sirens are passed. So coming into the World Cup next summer, we will know what to expect in terms of the heat, in terms of the weather overall. The safety measures I think need to be improved. Like Judy Bellingham said, the playing tough, because these are pitches that are used for American football or baseball and things of that nature. So they're not really cut out for football. Some of these are tough, and Judy Bellingham was saying they need to be improved. So I think maybe that's partly what the USA will look to do ahead of the World Cup and next summer. But we are into our cooling break. I think we are into the 71st minute of the game, and it's that cooling break. PSG are looking to make more substitutions. Let's wait and see who will come in, who will pave the way for who. Nuno Mendes, the entire PSG team, everybody. There's no one you look at to say this one has been a stand-up player. And you do wonder. For me, this is the point when I wonder that what kind of words does the manager tell his players to motivate them? Because clearly, you can see he doesn't really look happy with the manner in which they've handled themselves in. But on the side of Chelsea, you just have to give it to them. You just have it to give it to them. They've been really, really impressive. They've been really, really impressive. You can see that press from Cole Palmer. While as criticizing Donnarumma that perhaps he could have done more on that first goal, when you look how far he stretched that ball, you sort of get to understand he kept it to the ground. It was quite solo. The ball kept on kissing that ground until it hit the back of the net. So, anyways, European champions in PSG. So now, you remember PSG are going to play Tottenham Hotspurs for the UEFA Super Cup because Tottenham are the winners of the UEFA Europa League. But if this game is anything, Tottenham Hotspur should be really, really intently watching. Now, I do know for a fact, we know that Tottenham do not have the same kind of talent that Chelsea do have. But if you're Thomas Frank, you're keenly watching this game because you know at some point you're going to play PSG in that UEFA Super Cup. And what would it mean for, a Thomas Frank to win the UEFA Super Cup, beating PSG of all teams? So, I think it would mean really, really a lot to him and to Tottenham. But I can see Gonzalo Ramos is getting ready to come on is coming on for Desile Doe, is one of those coming on. Akraf Hakimi is being sacrificed. I think Akraf Hakimi, Fabian Ruiz, Desile Doe are all living the tough. It's not every day that you get to see Akraf Hakimi substituted. Warren Zaire-Emery is one of those that have come on, as well as Gonzalo Ramos in some of the substitutions that have been made for that PSG side. There's another player. There's another player that has also been withdrawn, but let's wait and see. I will give you that update in just a bit. Please bear with me. Please do bear with me on that. I'll give you the update. I think, yes, Seni Mayuru. Yes, Seni Mayuru is the other player who has come on for Fabian Ruiz. Let's see if those changes will have any effect to the extent of this game. To the extent of this game, really. Let's see. PSG going to play with some form of back three, and add an extra body to that midfield. I do not think going long will help PSG really, unless those passes are pinpoint perfect. Unless those passes are pinpoint perfect, let's wait and see. But like they say in Swahili, dakika zinayoyoma, PSG sifuri, Chelsea tatu. I hope I'm right. My command of the Swahili language is nowhere near good, non-existent at best. But that's what they usually say. Anyways, I said that for purposes of our colleague Hillary. Yes, Hillary, who is joining us from Rongai in Kenya. But it's simply impressive what we are able to see. 15 minutes left of normal time to play. About 15 minutes of normal time left to play. And like I said, the comeback was always going to be difficult. Wow. Brilliant defending from Richie James. Like I said, because Richie James is playing, because Richie James is playing in that middle of the park, it's been really easy for him to pull back in defense every time they needed that, to have that extra body in defense. João Neves trying to pull Marco Correa back to his feet. He knows he needs to waste a couple of seconds there on the floor, But PSG have not been good enough. They've just not been good at all, because they've created very few chances. They've hardly been clinical with those few chances that they've created. Take nothing away from their defending. Oh, that was a bit of a stretch. That was a bit of a stretch. Richie James is on the floor. And Chelsea are looking to make two substitutions. Keenan Brisbury-Hall and Romeo Lavia, those are looking to get on the pitch. Looks like Richie James hurt his shoulder, so looks like he's going to be withdrawn. Who does he hand the captain's armband to when he drives the way? Because we know Enzo Fernandez is off. He's one of the leadership group. I think it goes to Moises Caicedo. I mean, this Chelsea side is equally, young. Not all of them, but the Caicedos, Cole Palmer, Liam Delap, only 22. They're young. The couple of young players in there. So, but Chelsea are selling this one, and they will earn more than £87 million from winning this tournament. Christopher Nkunku is coming on. It's not Romeo Lavia, it's actually Christopher Nkunku with Keenan Brisbury-Hall. Now, Keenan Brisbury-Hall has come in for Richard James, and now we do see Pedro Neto, paving the way for Christopher Nkunku. So let's see how Chelsea line up in the wake of those changes. We know Nkunku is not a defender, nor is Keenan Brisbury-Hall. Excuse me. Yep. Let me see how many minutes of play are we left with. About 10 minutes left of normal time, and then you factor in those couple of minutes that will be added in. But it's going to be really absurd or weird that PSG leave this game without even scoring against the Chelsea side that are not do not have the strongest of defenses. In any case, if you assess that Chelsea side and you look at the way they play, if you had any criticism for them, you would say they need a more definite goalkeeper and perhaps an extra body in defense. And yet, so far, they've shown that they do not need that. Now, you see that this is the amazing thing about football, or the surprising thing about football at the same time, is that you have Chelsea beating up a team like PSG, and then you come to the Premier League, and then Wolves come and beat up against Chelsea. That's the nature of football, you know. Interesting. Like sometimes you never see the result coming, and I must be honest. Like I said, I did not see this result coming. My personal prediction had been a 3-1 victory for Paris Saint-Germain, and yet they've hardly done much to trouble Robert Sanchez beyond the three saves, actually three saves that he's had to make in this game. So really, you ought to give credit to this Chelsea side. Like I said, second half, the side team really deep. They played with a low block. They looked to Capitola to take PSG on the counter. PSG failed to break them down. And yet, wow, another impressive save from Gianluigi Donnarumma to deny Liam Delap, because there was a bit of calamitous defending in the PSG backline. Again, Chelsea going with the long ball, and was it Marquinhos? No. It was Lucas Belaldo fumbling that ball into the path of Liam Delap, but he forced Gianluigi Donnarumma into a save, and Chelsea go up a corner kick. This game could have been 5-0, by the way. If it had not been for Gianluigi Donnarumma, who I thought didn't do enough in the first half, but now it could have been easily 5, and yet it is still 3-0 in favor of this Chelsea side. Again, they're not going to try and go long. They'll try to, eat up time. If they can win another corner, well and good. But all they're going to try and do is eat up a couple of minutes up that corner flag or next to that area. So yeah, and again, in the grand scheme of things, if you are to assess this Chelsea side, I think they're very good players. They do have the spine. They can use an improvement on a goalkeeper. They could use a goalkeeper. They could use an extra body in defense. I do believe that, because Wesley Fofana often injured. Trevor Telba and Levi Colwill, you never know. I mean, Tosin Aderabio, all good players, but over the course of an entire campaign, that can easily be a very long marathon to run. And yeah, so that's, for me, that's why I feel they need to strengthen a bit. And when it comes to the strikers, when you have Joao Pedro, Liam Delap, and Nicholas Jackson, I think those are good bodies enough. Let's not forget all the other wingers they do have in their ranks. Of course, they're looking to move on some, the likes of Christopher Nkunku, the likes of Raheem Sterling. Good luck, is it Chelima? Many tickets are cutting tonight. Indeed, the Indian, as we love to call him, must be smiling to the bank. Because a lot of tickets are really being ripped in shreds, because things have not happened in any single way we had hoped they would happen. Good luck, Chadinma. Yeah, you're right about that. It's good to have you on the broadcast. First time I'm seeing you here. Please like the broadcast, but also consider subscribing to the channel. Good luck, Chadinma. And also let us know what country you're joining us from. But it's a pleasure to have you. Like I said, like I've acknowledged myself, my own prediction was a wrong one. I got that one wrong. It had been a 3-1 victory for PSG, but I also made the submission. Anything can happen in football. If Chelsea needed to commit, they needed to, change a couple of things in that starting 11, and indeed they changed them, and it worked out perfectly well. It's been a tactical masterclass from Enzo Maresca. to try and outsmart, Luis Enrique, who I thought he's tactically, I mean, he has the better experience, tactically more astute. I mean, you do not beat teams in the final by 5-0 as a fluke. João Neves getting booked here for another foul, I think, on Marco Correa. Like I said, Chelsea just needed to get the game into this phase of the game, and now it's beginning to show. PSG players are feeling frustrated, they're panicking, they fail to find that goal. Even a mere consolation has failed to come, so they're committing all sorts of fouls, both necessary and unnecessary. They're panicking and rushing into tackles and things like that. So that's what happened, because I do not think that Chelsea are going to squander that 3-0 lead in these 4 left minutes to the 90-hour mark or to the 90-minute mark. So the referee has been summoned to the monitor. Could we have a potential red card incident, or do we have a potential penalty incident? He's been asked to go to the. Oh, this is going to be a red card. João Neves pulled Marco Correa's hair. I mean, that's a red card. That's an unsporting behavior. You can't do that. You can't just do that. Yes, Correa, tries to, shove him on the shoulder, but you can't pull the other player's hair like that. You just can't do that. I mean, again, like I said, PSG were bound to lose their heads because of, and it's a straight red card for Joao Neves, and no qualms about it. He knows it. We know it. He's just run down the tunnel. Again, he's 20 years of age. That's also part of the inexperience with which the game comes with sometimes when you're playing with some of these kinds of players at this age. But I seem to remember it did happen in the Premier League, and that game did involve Arsenal. It was either David Luiz or Matteo Guendouzi whose hair was pulled in that similar fashion, because he has that, very long hair. So João Neves literally tried to pluck his hair as though he was plucking feathers of a chicken. And Luis Enrique knows this is as good as done and dusted. He knows they've lost the final. I mean, you're 3-0 down, you're trying to find a consolation, and then you're reduced to a man down. I mean, and by the way, this also speaks to their discipline, especially in the later phases of the game, because this is their third red card in the tournament. When they played Atletico Madrid got a red card, and then against Bayern Munich, they themselves received 2 red cards. That's for William Pacho and Lucas Hernandez, and now they've gotten one for João Neves, which is really, really bad. Oh, this should be a second booking, really. Moises Caicedo will be lucky to get away with this one, because he is already on a yellow card, and that was a bad tackle against Mayu. I think it was Mayu. Looks like the referee has, waved this one off, but he's lucky to get away with that tackle because a free kick has been given. On another day, it would have been a yellow card and a free kick, which would have subsequently meant that Caicedo gets sent off, and we are back to square one, where it's 10 men. PSG have failed to find the breakthrough already. They've failed. They've pulled all sorts of tricks. It's failed. And I do suspect that we may have about 5 or more minutes of added time, because it's been that kind of game. We've had some couple of stops. We had the water break. We've had the red card review for Joao Neves. So let's just wait and see. But I feel even the 5 minutes will be a bit harsh to this PSG side. When you're already losing 3-0, I do not think you need all that time for more pain to be inflicted on you. Ballon d'Or contender Ousmane Dembele has been quiet this entire game. And if this was one of the game for which we are going to, measure his credentials for the Ballon d'Or, then clearly he's underperformed. He's underperformed really. He's underperformed. He's been kept silent for large parts of the game. He only had one attempt on goal that I do remember that forced Robert Sanchez into a save in the early minutes of the second half. Other than that, it's not really happened for him. It's not really happened for him. So you look at Bradley Barcola in that space trying to take on literally 4 Chelsea players. Oh, Gonzalo Ramos, instead of scoring, instead defended for Chelsea. I mean, anyways, this is basically what happens when you have a bad day in office. Everything you touch turns to shit, and yet when you have a good day in office, everything you touch turns to gold. Literally, everything you touch turns to gold. Enzo Maresca telling Liam Delap to waste a bit of time and run down the clock, and he did practically that. And Chelsea do have themselves a free kick in a very, very decent area. So you can imagine the frustration. Oh, Gonzalo Ramos being the culprit there tackling with the hard tackle against Liam Delap, a fellow striker. So we're already into stoppage time. We're already into the 91st minute of the game. Just are not going to be in any rush to start this. Like I said, 5 minutes. It's what has been added on. Chelsea are champions of the FIFA Club World Cup. They are the champions of this inaugural edition of the 32-team FIFA Club World Cup. When we are talking about team favorites or favorite teams to win this competition, must be honest, Chelsea did not come to mind. I named PSG, I named Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, and for me, it was good to see that Bayern Munich and Madrid go to the quarterfinals and the semi-finals, and now PSG are in the final, and they are losing finalists. But congratulations, Chelsea, you are the champions. Really, I actually need to put that out there. That congratulations, Chelsea, you are champions. So somebody does acknowledge with me here saying on X that Chelsea needs a serious goalkeeper and they will have the entire world at their feet. They have really invested in the squad and now have the depth to compete for the treble in the coming season. But Robert Sanchez has been close to world class, close to world class today. So really, anyway, we will talk about that at full time. Let's just now conclude on this game because 1 minute left. And it's Chelsea with the ball. How ugly should it get? Vitinha was left on the floor. Vitinha was left down to the floor, sent to the dogs, practically. Oh. Robert Sanchez nearly fumbled that ball, nearly conceded possession in a dangerous area. He was lucky to go away with that one. The second half has been reduced to, small, insignificant moments. One significant moment being the red card, but all the other have been sort of average or minor moments, really. Everything was done and dusted in the first half. Chelsea came back into the second half with one thing to do: just contain PSG, deny them opportunities, deny them chances, play with the low block, And practically that's what they've done. Practically that's what they've done. Nasty challenge by Nuno Mendes against Christopher Nkunku. But like I said, it's all frustration. It's all frustration. It's all frustration. It's all frustration of being on the losing side. Nothing more than that. Nothing more than that, really. We're just waiting for the final whistle. They're all Tosin Aderabio, Enzo Fernandez, and that Chelsea camp just waiting to, and it's all over. Chelsea win it by 3 goals to nil. Congratulations, Chelsea. You are the champions of the world. You've won it fair and square. I mean, without a doubt. If this tournament is anything to go by, I think it does change our opinions about Chelsea going into next season in regards to where they do stand. You can see the excitement of Enzo Maresca. I mean, 1 year in and he has 2 accolades. He has 2 trophies, the UEFA Conference League and the FIFA Club World Cup. And our own Mikel Arteta, 5 years in, only nearly 5.5 years in, and only has only the FA Cup from 2020. So, yep, it's really hard to argue against those facts. It's really hard to argue against those facts. It's all over. It's over. Chelsea are champions, well-deserved champions, are really. So, yeah, very, very impressive game of football. I thought Chelsea were the best team won on the day, if I'm being honest. Chelsea deserved to be champions, and they are champions of the world. They have won it by 3 goals to nil, beating PSG. A brace from Cole Palmer and another from Joao Pedro. The new signing from Brighton. Until yesterday, he was a Brighton player, and today he's helped Chelsea win silverware. So, I mean, Joao Pedro is already winning silverware. I mean, this Chelsea side is going to be one to watch next season in the Premier League and all the other competitions that they may feature in. Chelsea is erupting between Gianluigi Donnarumma and some Chelsea players. I do not know what really happened, but things are turning chaotic. Things are turning chaotic. Things are turning chaotic. Again, the frustrations of losing. Chelsea players are celebrating Enzo Maresca having a warm embrace with Gianluigi Donnarumma. Guess what? In the last couple of days, we've been hearing reports of Chelsea being linked with a potential move for Gianluigi Donnarumma. Did Luis Enrique lose his mind there? Did Luis Enrique lose his mind? And he was involved in an altercation with a Chelsea player. He was involved in an altercation with a Chelsea player. Quite the chaotic ending to the game. Quite the chaotic ending to the game. Anyway, frustrations. Those are all frustrations of being on the losing side. So everything is almost done and dusted. Madueke will complete his second part of the medical to complete that move to Arsenal on Monday. His first part of the medical is done. That's according to Florian Plettenberg of Sky Germany. So he will sign his contract very soon. Then about that deal of Viktor Gyokeres to Arsenal, like I've told you, the 2 clubs have already reached an agreement on transfer fee. Initially, we did get reports from none other than David Austin, who told the world that Arsenal were in the process of completing a move for Viktor Gyokeres after taking final steps in negotiations with Sporting Lisbon, FC meaning Arsenal made formal advances on deal terms over the weekend in a bid to secure 27-year-old striker 5-year contract lined up. And then just moments later, or about an hour later, he came back to give us the here we go of some sort, because he was telling us that it was official. Initially, his tweet read that Sporting Lisbon had confirmed that they had reached an agreement in principle for the transfer of Viktor Gyokeres. But his exact words were, Arsenal in principle reached he said agreement in principle reached for Viktor Gyokeres move for Sporting Lisbon to Arsenal, deal worth 63.5 million guaranteed plus 10 million in add-ons, and Sweden striker representatives waives a fee to help facilitate the 27-year-old Sporting CP to Arsenal switch. Now, the other key information we have learned during the course of today is that Coventry had a 15% sell-on clause, but the 5% was bought off last summer, so that left a 10% sell-on clause. Then Brighton, because remember he came from Brighton, he was a Brighton player, Brighton and Hove Albion, then went on loan to Swansea, where he only scored 1 goal. Then after that, he went on loan to Coventry, who then assigned him permanently. So Brighton also retained a 15% sell-on clause, according to reports. So maybe, and yet you also had agent commission fees. So clearly, this again goes on to speak about transfer fees. When you hear that maybe a club is buying a player for £50 million, it's easy to assume that all the £50 million is going in the direction of the club. But sometimes part of that is commission fees to the player's agency or agents or agent. If it's an individual, sometimes there's a future sell-on clause in the player's contract from his previous club and things of that nature overall. So you may, if a deal is worth £50 million, you may actually find that the team that is selling is actually going to end up with only 30, and all the other 20 is being distributed by all these previous owners and maybe the players' representatives. But that's really, really impressive, because again, this further emphasizes what we've known for the last 1 week, that the player was desperate to join Arsenal because he worked, I think, about €2 million, although some reports indicate £2 million in wages, I think, and bonuses to try and facilitate a move from Sporting Lisbon to Arsenal. And now his agents have had to waive their fees to help facilitate this move. And this was negotiated over the weekend during a same period within which we're hearing that within which the Francesco Varandas, that's the Sporting CP president, was saying they were willing to stick it out and find the player and things of that nature. We spoke about that yesterday. But also from this, it shows that also Sporting Lisbon are moved. Like this, I don't want to say they blinked, but remember they wanted €70 million guaranteed, but now they've taken at least 6.5 off, based on the numbers that we are receiving. So that's really, really impressive, I must say. So, but congratulations, Chelsea, well deserved on being crowned champions of the world. You are the champions of the FIFA Club World Cup, beating PSG by 3-0. Then Fabrizio Romano, no, not Fabrizio Romano, sorry. This is somebody impersonating Fabrizio. Apologies. You ought to be very, very careful with some of these things. Then something of the Telegraph also confirms that Arsenal and Sporting are on the brink of a complete agreement for the transfer fee of Viktor Gyokeres. Initial fees of £55 million. Final details are now being nailed down, and Rebata almost has his man. Now, when they say deal close to being done or agreement, now we are talking payment structures because a transfer fee has officially been agreed. Now we are talking about the payment structure and what the add-ons would entail. What do they mean? for those add-ons? Are they achievable, very quickly achievable add-ons, or are some of them exaggerated? Is, for example, Arsenal could say if he helps us, if he scores 25 goals in the Premier League alone next season, or 30 goals, then we will give you 2 million euros in add-ons. If we win the Premier League, we'll give you an extra 1 million euros. So that means if a player scores 25 goals or 30, depending on what the exact number is or above that, and Arsenal in the process also win the Premier League, then it could be a total of maybe 3 million euros in add-ons. If we win the UEFA Champions League, then you get an extra 2 million euros. So that would mean 5 million euros in add-ons achieved. And then there's another whole 5. So how do we, arrive to that? It could be, again, for the second season, if he also scores another 20 goals plus, or if we reach the final of the UEFA Champions League, you get 1 million euros for the second year running, and things of that nature. So let's wait and see how things will transpire in that regard. So, but Luis Enrique tried to grab Joao Pedro's neck and then punches him in the face. I mean, that is what it appears to be like. So I do expect Luis Enrique to be suspended or perhaps banned. I don't know what he said. I don't know what he did. But like I said, it looked chaotic. It looked really, really chaotic in that ending, and the scenes were really not nice. Viktor Gyokeres to Arsenal from Sporting Lisbon. Okay. I think we've said everything we wanted to say about that. We've said everything we needed to say about that. But it looks like they're getting it their way at long last. At long last, Arsenal getting their man. But like I told you, Saudi Pro League side Neom, where Lacazette recently signed for on a 2-year contract, have sent their official bid for Granit Xhaka, huge proposal also for the player. Apparently, his wages could be up to 10 million euros per season. A medical is currently being planned for Viktor Gyokeres. That's according to the hand of Arsenal. He's been one of the more reliable, reporters or people when it came to Arsenal transfers during the course of this summer. I'm trying to see where he put that. He said full agreement reached for the transfer of Viktor Gyokeres to Arsenal Football Club, and came back to say, okay, that was his welcoming tweet. He came back. He said it's crucial to remain silent last 48 hours while Arsenal covertly worked to close the deal for Gyokeres. The club will always come first. Medical being planned for Viktor Gyokeres, and he said, "Have a good night, Arsenal fans." That's from the hand of Arsenal. I thought I should be reading you guys a tweet from another Arsenal reporter known as James Bench, but also take this one. This is according to Sami Mokpel of BBC Sport. He says Arsenal reached full agreement. Okay, when was this? Oh, this was 58 minutes ago. He said Arsenal reached full agreement with Sporting Lisbon over 73.5 million euros, signing of Viktor Gyokeres inside 24 hours. Deal now in place with minor details being resolved. Parties working towards Gyokeres being part of AFC Arsenal's Asian tour at the end of the week. Remember, that's going to be 19th. I think, yes, it will be Saturday 19th when Arsenal fly out for their Asian tour, during which they'll play teams like AC Milan, they'll play teams like Newcastle, they'll also play Tottenham. While at it, we are back. Let me celebrate for now. Good night. That's Cenk from is a Chelsea fan. Cenk, okay, have yourself a blessed night. Cenk, good to have you. He says we are back, meaning Chelsea are back where they belong. They are back on top. I think that's what he is referring to. So really, really impressive stuff. But I think that's it. It's been 1 hour and 14 minutes of this broadcast. Allow me wish you guys a wonderful rest of the night. Bye-bye, and I'll see you next time. Stay blessed. Let's revisit all this conversation tomorrow morning for our morning broadcast. We will have a much more expanded conversation on regards to those developments. See you next time. Bye-bye.